Hello and welcome to another edition of Coffee Talk with immigration attorney Brian D. Lerner. In this particular episode, I'd like to get into a little bit about the differences between the EB-5 and the E-2. And first, let me wish everybody a very happy New Year. I hope all of you will have a prosperous and happy coming New Year. And I hope that the holiday season did you well. It's time to exercise and shed a few of those pounds that we all put on during the holiday season. But there's good things on the horizon. There might be immigration reform coming. It looks like Speaker Boehner has moved forward in a positive direction and isn't just dismissing the immigration reform bill as nothing anymore. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, so what I'd like to talk about is the differences between the EB-5 and the E-2. Now, these are two different kinds of investment visas, okay? And I have a lot of people who are interested, who are entrepreneurs or have their own businesses or have saved for lots of years to get, the funds to do a business. And I have them ask me, can I just go forward and do the EB-5, or possibly they only have, and I understand this is not a little bit, but they only have like $100,000 and rather than $1 million, and they say, I know I can't do anything because I know the EB-5 requires $1 million. Well, I want to spell out some differences between the EB-5 and the E-2 so that you understand what you might qualify for, what you might not qualify for, and the basic paths in which to get them. Now, first of all, the EB-5, that is for an immigrant visa. Now, forget about all the qualifications and all the limitations and problems and everything else. The EB-5 is to get the green card, okay? The E-2 is basically a work permit. I mean, it's a very nice work permit, and it lets you run your business and be an entrepreneur and all that, but bottom line, E-2 is a non-immigrant work permit, okay? So first, if you separate the meanings without even knowing anything about them, EB-5, green card, E-2, work permit. That at least gets you pointed, knowing where it is that you're heading. Now, the EB-5 for the green card, anybody on this planet can do if you have the money. And I have lots of other videos on the EB-5, but more or less it's $1 million investment. You need to start your own business and or buy a business in operation, or for a mere $500,000 you can invest in a regional center which has been designated by immigration. Now, just so you know, before I get sidetracked, the next question people always ask is, well, if it doesn't work out, can I get all my money back? And of course the answer is no. You may or may not be able to. If the regional center goes bankrupt, if the regional center makes bad investments and your money becomes half what it used to be, there's no way of guaranteeing that you will see your money again. You very well might. Not only might you see it again, you might see a nice profit, but it's like any other business decision. I mean, honestly, if you have $500,000 in your pocket, you probably have made a lot of business decisions in the past, and this is no different. So when investors come to me and they go, can you please recommend a regional center for me to invest my $500,000? The answer is no. What I can do is I can send you certain regional centers which have been around for a while, which might be in the places you're interested in investing, and then you need to do your homework. Okay, you need to read all of their information and their prospectuses. You need to do an analysis of if you think it's a good investment and so forth. And at the end of the day, when you put your money in there, you need to understand that it is investment like anything else. Okay, it's like investing in Twitter, which that's been going up pretty good. But whatever it is, you need to make your own decision on that. Now, the fact is there are no limitations on who can apply for an EB-5 for the green card. And this is sort of strange because you'd think it would be the other way around, that to apply for the green card there's more limitations than for a work permit, but that's not the case. If you're not inadmissible on other grounds and you have the funds and the investment meets the qualifications or the necessary requirements, then the EB-5 is for you. Now, what about the E-2? Because people will say, well, I heard there's an E-2 where you only need $50,000 or $100,000 to invest, and that's what I want because I don't have the $500,000 or $1 million. Well, the E-2 is limited, and it is not available to everybody on the planet. The E-2, if you spell the whole thing out, is the E-2 Treaty Investment Visa, or it could be the E-1 Treaty Trader Visa, but we'll concentrate on the E-2 for now. The name of the E-2 specifies why it's limited. The E-2 Treaty Investor Visa. So the treaty part is what's limiting. There must be a treaty between the U.S. and the foreign country in which to allow an E-2 to go forward. For example, the treaty between the U.S. and Canada and U.S. and Mexico is called NAFTA, okay, North American Free Trade Agreement, and that allows the E-2 to proceed forward. Well, there's different treaties all over the planet. There's something like 30 or 40 treaties, give or take, around the country. There might be more. I always consult my E-2 list to confirm whether a country is or is not on the treaty list, and if they are, then you qualify. Then, as far as you're eligible, now whether you qualify is a different story, but you're eligible at least if you're from that country. So, for example, if you're from Germany or France or Italy or Australia, I'm just naming off a few that right off the top come to mind for E-2s, Japan, then you can invest the $50,000 or $100,000. You can come here on an E-2, and it can be renewed periodically, which, if you come through my firm and you do what I tell you and you keep the records and conduct the business and so forth, then it can be renewed, and it can be renewed forever. There's no outside limitation on the number of years you can spend on E-2 here. Not that that's what people do, not that they come here on E-2 and stay forever on E-2, although sometimes I do have some clients that is the case, but for the most part, their spouse can come here on an E-2, get a work permit, work anywhere they want, unrestricted. The children can come on an E-2 and derivative, and they can go to school up until they're 18, no problems, whatever school. They don't need to change their status. So the E-2s are very nice, and many times it is used as a stepping stone to the EB-5. So when people ask me, they go, well, does the E-2 become a green card? Or does it become where they automatically become a citizen? The answer is no to both of those questions. It's not automatic for anything, and the E-2 by itself doesn't lead to the green card. However, the people can come here on an E-2 and then eventually use all of their investments, if it's done properly, to qualify for the EB-5. So technically, it does follow that they can come on an E-2 and some point later change or submit the EB-5 investor visa application. Now, just so you keep in mind, there's a lot of different paths that people can take from an E-2, which again is the nice entrepreneurial work permit, to get the green card. They can, sometimes they come here on an E-2 and they have a sibling petition pending for the next 12 years, so they stay on E-2 for 12 years and then they adjust status based upon the family-based petition. Sometimes they come on an E-2 and they file a perm because they get a company that will be willing to sponsor them while they're here on E-2. And by the way, when I do the E-2s, if I know a company's interested, they come here on an E-2, and as part of the business plan, we make it so that they can contract their services as an independent contractor, basically, out to this particular company. That company can then petition them for a perm, and so while they're here on an E-2 working for the company as an independent contractor, the perm is percolating along. Eventually they become a green card holder, they close up the E-2, and then they go work full-time as an employee for the company. That's just one path. There's all kinds of paths that it could take. So I hope at least I've cleared up some of the questions and mystery around the differences between the EB-5 and the E-2. Keep in mind that with an EB-5, if you come and qualify for it, for the green card, that is, under the EB-5, your spouse, of course, will be a derivative, and any children under 21 will also qualify as derivatives, where they don't have to have a penny to their own name and they still can get the green card. So if you're coming to the U.S. To eventually get the green card and you don't much care about yourself, but if you want your kids, for example, to have the green card so they can grow up here or they have somewhere to go and get educated and so forth, you need to take into consideration that the EB-5 takes considerably longer to get adjudicated than the E-2. The E-2, we prepare everything, and then we send it directly to the U.S. consulate or the U.S. embassy. Not that it's easy to prepare everything by any stretch of the imagination, but at least it doesn't have to go through a year of adjudications here inside the USCIS. It can go straight to the consulate once it's done. So if you're interested in the E-2 or the EB-5, go ahead and like my video here if you can, subscribe, and once you set up a consultation with me, and I give consultations anywhere on the planet, especially through Google Hangout. It's a great utility, and also I can call anywhere. You let me know, and I'll be happy to advise you what can be done, what can't be done, what the possibilities are, and so forth, and more on the coming videos.